Wednesday.
Happy hump day.
Yes.
Welcome to another episode of Conscious Straight Talk with Katie and Lindsey. I hope you're doing well today. We have a new episode coming up today that's going to be all about anorexia.
Or anorexia nervosa.
Eating disorders, and that's something that you specialize in.
Yes, it is.
So I've kind of brought you guys the expert, and I wanted to talk about it right now at this time of year because a lot of us are focused on New Year's resolutions and changing habits.
And dieting. It's all about dieting, and
Which
I'm
we hate.
so against dieting.
We hate that word.
I do not like that word, and it's everywhere. Every magazine you open up. Oh, that's another thing I do.
Yeah.
Remind me to mention that. Get rid of social media.
But it's hard, and I know a lot of us are thinking about how we can get our bodies in better order. Which is totally common and normal at this time of year, and we just want to make sure that you don't go too far.
Right. The goal would be intuitive eating, and we'll do a separate issue session, whatever, on intuitive eating. So we want to go over the definition.
So
will you
anorexia,
tell us what the definition is?
It's an emotional disorder characterized by an obsessive desire to lose weight by refusing to eat at all. So these people they have this control, this need for control, this obsession to have their body look in a particular way.
They're very, very, very much in need of control, perfectionistic, people pleasers. They're the yes type of person. They're the types that get straight A's. The gymnasts, the actors and actresses, the models, etc. So that's the type of personality that's very I want to please everybody. I want to do everything perfect. And as we all know, none of us can do everything perfectly. We can't even do one thing perfectly. So there you go.
I think that there's perfection in our imperfection.
That's true. That is very
sense.
True. Okay, so I'm going to read to you the diagnostic criteria for anorexia out of the book that we as therapists and psychologists, etc.
Because it is so much more than just not eating here and there. There's really serious
it's very
traits that go with anorexia.
It is the most serious mental disorder just behind opioids as far as how many people it kills. It is the most serious. So the criteria for anorexia nervosa is refusal to maintain a body weight that's appropriate for their age and their height. The body weight is less than 85% of that expected for age and height. When people come into my office, are they getting on the scale? No. They've already been diagnosed. Usually they've already been inpatient or outpatient, which we can discuss later. There's an intense fear of gaining weight or becoming fat, even though they're skinny. It's called body dysmorphia. So basically they look in the mirror and they're 100 pounds, then they're very thin, and they look in the mirror and they see a 300-pound person. And this is just what they see. It's just...
And I think this is where the disorder really comes into play because they're not seeing reality, right? Their subconscious is kicking in, taking over, and making them see and do things that they don't want to really be doing.
Right, exactly.
In reality. They're hurting themselves, right? To reach something.
Yeah, it depends on the person.
Does this sometimes come from like unhealed childhood trauma?
Oh, it's a lot of it.
Or what are things that
a lot of it. It can be genetic, so it can be passed down. I also think
like learning habits you mean to pass down from your parents.
It'll be like a mother, whatever that has it, but then also on top of that, yes, they see their mom maybe on a diet. Like, I had this in my 20s, and I saw my mom was on a diet my whole entire life. So that's all I saw. That was normal to me. And that's why I hate the word diet. But, or a parent that has an eating disorder. Usually it's going to be the mom or aunt or somebody in the family that's close, the sister.
But some men have it too.
Some men have it too. Very few, much more in the gay community. Yeah. Maybe 3% of men have it, but definitely much more women. The last one is in menstruating women, they lose their period for 3 months. It's called Amenorrhea. So that's the diagnosis.
Well, that probably also will affect you trying to have a baby as well.
That for sure is going to create fertility issues or can create fertility issues.
So this just basically wreaks havoc on your body.
And can kill the baby on top of it.
As you're killing yourself.
Exactly.
And if you think about it the same as with a car, if you're not putting any gas in your car isn't going to go anywhere.
Exactly.
And it's the same with your body. And likewise, if you're putting sugar into your car, it's going to probably explode. So if you are putting bad stuff into your body or nothing at all,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to stop working.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
we need to be aware of that. And with the anorexia, it's more of a mental, right? Like a subconscious disorder that is causing you to.
It usually
do
starts
this.
out as like, oh, I'm just going to lose a couple pounds, blah, blah, blah. And then it just goes and goes and it becomes overboard. Now, there are
Yeah.
people that are able to manage it. I'm not saying this is ever okay, but there are people that are able to maintain like 700 calories a day or 800 calories a day and survive. That doesn't mean that they're not hurting their body, but we can go into that at a later date. 28.8 million Americans will have an eating disorder in their lifetime. Yes.
Are you
Yes.
serious?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's a huge number.
Uh-huh. And there's one death every 2 minutes due to eating disorders. That's crazy, right?
Wow. Okay, so I didn't even realize that it was that prevalent.
Yeah.
Rampant. I don't even know the right word to use.
Yeah, rampant, prevalent, they all work. Full recovery occurs in only 21% of patients. 90% are women between the ages of 12 and 25 years of age.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
but it doesn't mean that it can't continue into your 70s. I have an aunt that has it, and she's in 80 at this point.
So it's something that you probably always have to be conscious of.
You
and
never,
aware of,
yes.
that you have these tendencies.
You always have to work on the
stay on
thoughts.
top.
I mean, I might venture to say that the thoughts never completely go away.
Yeah.
So,
That's
yeah.
scary. And the effects of them it's pretty.
Oh, it wreaks havoc on your body.
Yeah.
So we talked about
Osteoporosis, right?
yeah. So you'll see like a 30-year-old that's all hunched over like this because of osteoporosis.
Because they're not eating.
Right. Yeah, because they're not feeding their bones. Fertility issues, like we said, the baby could end up dying. They are more apt to have postpartum depression. They're more apt to have
If they
depression
can even
and
get
anxiety.
pregnant.
Yeah, or they might not be able to get pregnant. They have brain fog, and they say it takes a full 2 years after being done with having anorexia to have your brain being normal. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Will return back to
Back to what it
proper
was.
function.
Yes, thank you. That's the right
Yeah.
word I was looking
Your
for.
hair falls out, right? Your teeth. do
Your
they
hair
fall out?
falls out, your teeth fall out. Let's see, you get this, like the hair up your nose or the hair in your ears. It's called cilia. You get this fine hair when you get to a certain weight that covers your body, almost like a little baby animal. And your body's trying to keep yourself insulated because you're so cold. So neuropathy, freezing cold, anemia. I mean, it just goes on and on. It's bad. It's really bad.
That's hard.
Yeah.
So what can we do to help them?
Well,
Or if you feel that you are suffering from an eating disorder, what can somebody do that's in that situation?
right. It's a very hard disorder to deal with. It depends on how bad they are. If they're really, really bad, then they're probably going to have to go into the hospital and have a feeding tube until they get to a
that's in
certain
extreme cases, right?
That is, but you
It
see with
happens.
anorexia a lot of
Yeah.
extreme cases. So then you have to get them to a certain weight. Then if they're still really bad, then they would go inpatient, which means they'd go into a residential treatment center where they would have individual therapy, they'd have group therapy, they'd have all their meals all planned out, and they have to eat every single thing that they're given, or else they have to drink an Ensure shake. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It sounds funny, but I
No,
love
they
that.
really do. They have to have dessert and everything. So it's
Okay.
very hard and it takes a long time.
Yeah.
So, and then once they graduate from that, they can go to an outpatient program. So they're going to a residential area, but they come home. When I see them, they're usually getting better, but
So what about in
can't
the
say it all the time.
What about in the not so extreme cases? The people that are just getting there. Is there some kind of advice we can give to
Yes.
them to start to be more conscious of what's going on in your body and how to
Yeah.
circumvent that?
Yeah, so one thing that I do is I ask them to please cover up all of their mirrors. Being that they have body dysmorphia, and every time they look at themselves in the mirror and they decide that they have a fat arm or a fat stomach or whatever, mirrors are just a trigger. So I have them cover up the mirrors. I say, please, please cover up the mirrors, or you can see yourself from here up, so you can do your makeup and hair and all of that. That's very helpful. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing about group therapy, because they definitely do group therapy. It's very important, but it also can create problems. It's not that it's essential to do, but thinking of this age group of 12 to 25, and like I said, it goes all the way up to 80, but thinking of this age group, they're very, very impressionable. And so lots of times the 16-year-old will learn from the 20-year-old other ways to keep themselves thin, like laxatives and bulimia, etc.
Yeah, so they share the bad tips too. So it's important to be conscious and aware of this whole process.
Right. And then,
yourself.
yes. And then the most important, well, there's so many things that are so important, but I work with them on trying to figure out the underlying issue. What is the real issue? What is the trigger? Where did this come from? You know, did they watch their mom on a diet all the time?
Yeah.
Did their mom have an eating disorder? I also work on getting rid of the do not eat list. They will have a list that's, you know, like Santa's Christmas list of all the food that they cannot eat.
You were telling me that sometimes you will eat with your clients and actually help them feel more comfortable.
The goal at the end is for me to bring in, let's say, some cupcakes or cake or whatever, and to sit there and actually eat it. And that is that's towards the end of their healing process. It's a very, very difficult for them to do and to keep that food inside.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking, you know, hearing about these things.
It is. I'm trying to think, I get everything?
We covered all of that for anorexia today. On Friday, we were going to talk about bulimia, right?
We will, or we can talk about COVID.
Oh, we're going to talk about COVID one of these days soon.
Yes, we are. We haven't decided.
But that's it for today.
Yes.
We'd love to hear from you guys. Give us some comments if you have any questions on anorexia. If you think a friend has it or a loved one, please reach out to us. We're here.
Want
we'll get
any
back
advice?
To you.
Yes.
We can help you through this process. You guys are not alone, for sure.
That's true.
A lot of people go through this stuff. So, happy hump day,
Yes.
and we will see you on Friday. Bye.